And English version 1.5 is finally here! Who's excited for some deck building? Yes, English version 1.5 is essentially Japanese version BT3 meta. So, if you still don't have your deck ideas, feel free to check out this video where we talk about 10 decks which can be used in 1.5.
Number 1. Thought that 1.5 would spell the end to Omnimon staying on top of the meta? Well, think again. 1.5 brings in some pretty crucial support to keep Omni-Red decks relevant. The addition of Digimon means you can play it alongside Coromon to ensure that you get an extra 1000 DP boost when swinging into security. Piyomon also adds in some support, as you can use it as a memory bank, triggering its on-deletion effect when you need a memory boost. Larvagoritamon can also replace Metatyranomon as the high DP level 5, despite having slightly lower DP. However, its low Digivolution cost should come in handy. We also have Blitz Greymon, which de-digivolves your opponent's Digimon by 2 stages when you digivolve into it. It might cost 4 memory to digivolve into, but it might just break your opponent's tempo. Finally, there is also Alter S, which brings more de-digivolve support into Red while being a counter to Rookie Rush. In the 7 weeks of BT3 meta, 63 decks won first place in Japan, and out of that 63, only 2 did not have Omnimon and Alter S, while 54 of them played both. If you're looking to bring your Omnimon dominance with you into 1.5, then this is the deck for you. Check out my Omni-Red deck list in the link above. Number 2. In BT3, there was another deck which managed to stand side by side with Duo Omega Red, the Digisorption Ceresmon deck. Ceresmon is a card which allows you to suspend your opponent's Digimon for Digisorption, and it's really fast because you can keep digivolving with little to no memory. Well, as long as you have things to suspend. This deck is completed by adding in Algomon level 4, Algomon level 5, and Blossomon. You might also want to cut down on cards that suspend your opponent's Digimon like Mega Gargomon and Flower Cannon, because you need some unsuspended Digimon on your opponent's side to use Ceresmon's effect. Although you might not want to cut it out entirely, as Digimon like Mega Gargomon can be useful to stall your opponents. Common level 6 partners for Ceresmon would be Mega Gargomon and Bancho Stingmon. In contrast to popular belief, thanks to Ceresmon, you don't actually need Mimi to create more Digisorption fodder. In fact, out of 42 first place Ceresmon decks in BT3, only 12 of them use Tamers in their deck. However, if you want to win something with this deck, you better do it this month before the restriction list gets implemented. Number 3. In BT2, Bandai introduced Tamer Reliance setup decks, and one of them was Shine Greymon. Shine Greymon was top class in BT2 meta, flirting with tier 1 pretty often. It also consistently won tournaments in Malaysia, as the Malaysian meta seems to favor Purple and Shine Greymon more than Omni decks. More support came in BT3 in the form of Tureimon and Antilamon, 2 low-cost vanillas which allowed you to ramp into Shine Greymon easily. The basis of this deck is setting up your Tamers before going in for the kill with Shine Greymon. Hence, we quite often see people play 10 to 12 Tamers. Out of the 3 available yellow Tamers, the priority often go to both BT1 and starter deck TK, while Kari was seldom played in a playset, unless the deck had 12 Tamers. There are also several other cards that are crucial to this deck, like Rice Greymon. Rice Greymon is a must-use card in this deck, as you get to play Tamers for free when digivolving into it. There is also Glorious Burst, a removal option which can have its memory cost discounted depending on the number of Tamers you have in the battle area. As for support cards, Magna Angelmon is a good card to tech in. One weakness of this deck is that very often, it would need to have 3 or less security before it can function at full capacity. Hence, more experienced players would keep you at 4 security before going in for the 1-turn kill. This strategy is particularly popular among aggro deck users, especially Dual Omni Red. Magna Angelmon has an unconditional recovery +1 if you play it, hence denying your opponent the chance to leave you at 4 security. Number 4. Just like Shine Greymon, Alforce Vidramon is another tamer-reliant deck. While Alforce is highly popular and might seem overpowered with its ability to pull off one-turn kills, it is actually an underwhelming deck, particularly due to its inability to play tamers for free, unlike Shine Greymon. Despite also being tamer reliant, in contrast to Shine Greymon decks where you play 10 to 12 tamers, Alforce is functional enough with 6 to 8. The most common tamers used in Alforce decks are Rina Shinomiya and V-Tamer Taikamiya. Rina helps you in fishing for Digimon to build your Alforce line, and gives you a DP boost when attacking, while V-Tamer Tai gives you more draw power and more DP boost. On top of these two, newer decks actually tag in a Davis to secure memory at the start of their turn, and also search for more Digimon to build up your Alforce. To boost the efficiency of this deck, you have Demi-Vmon, Vmon, Vidramon, Vidramon Zero, and Aero Vidramon. Previously in BT2, Upamon was often used as it boosts the draw power of Alforce decks. However, as Alforce can gain gemming from Aero Vidramon, it's not a bad idea to use BT3 Demi-Vmon instead. BT3 Vmon is also quite popular among Alforce decks, as it allows you to rush your opponent early on. I have a video discussing this deck in detail, so do check it out. However, that video is kinda outdated. Even then, you can still use it as a core to build your Alforce deck along with the new additions I mentioned in this video. Number 5. If you're a strong supporter of blue decks, this is the deck you'd want in 1.5. Imperial Drama is a very volatile deck. On a good day, it can be tier 0. I've played in a tournament where an Imperial blue deck wiped out my Omega Red real fast in 2 games, then fall flat against an inferior deck in the next round. However, even if it requires luck to pull off god tier wins, its performance is consistently above average, making it a solid tier 2 deck. The main concept of this deck is to fill it with jamming Digimon. Furthermore, X-Vmon is also a good card to withstand smaller jamming Digimon like Vmon, which can give you quick hits at your opponent's security. Davis is also an important card as it gives you 3 memory at the start of your turn. This is particularly important when you reach level 5. You are able to swing into the security with Dino Beamon or Pile Dramon, then Digivolve into Imperial Dramon to restand and have another go at the security. In fact, if you Digivolve Imperial Dramon onto Pile Dramon, you can even pull off a third hit thanks to Pile Dramon's inherited effect. Number 6. Unhappy with the results of your black deck in 1.0? Fret not. 1.5 brings in more support for black in the form of the Legend Arms, which makes it more viable. While this might still not be able to compete with tier 1 decks, it is a solid tier 2 deck which can allow you to pick up more wins. The core of this deck is Fragment Larpmont, a solid red Digimon card that can digivolve from both black and red Digimon. One of the unique features of Fragment Larpmont is that if you manage to add a Brawludramon or Durandamon from your hand when you digivolve, you can actually regain the 3 memory you paid, making it essentially a free Digivolution. The general Ragnar Black revolves around the Ludomon line. It has quite a bit of control to it, as Tia Ludomon and Raiji Ludomon allows you to de-digivolve your opponent every time you attack. Some people even add in Blitz Greymon for the extra de-digivolve support. Furthermore, it can also be supported by low-cost vanillas such as Tankmon and the Greymon line, which would give Ragnar Larpmont jamming and a security attack boost. Number 7. Think Ragnar Larpmont is cool but dislike control-based decks? Well, fret not. Ragnaret might be the one for you. Ragnaret is essentially a glass cannon. Built off the Zubamon line, it gets extra security checks from Zubargamon and Duramon. It is pretty simple to build this deck, as it is quite similar to the 1.0 Omni Red deck. However, as it is all out offensive with little to no control, things might not go too well if you don't manage to win the game early on. Number 8. Mastermon is a pretty popular card that can digivolve from both purple and yellow Digimon. I've seen quite a few people predict that it would be meta topping in 1.5. But sorry to burst your bubble. Only 5 decks with Mastermon at the core managed to come up tops in Japan during BT3, and 3 of them were purple based. While its effects might give you many gimmicky ideas, all 5 tournament winning decks were pretty standard purple or yellow ramp. The most you'd see from this deck is the Petermon Tinkermon combo, which was used in 3 of the 5 decks. Number 9. When Cranimon was first revealed for BT3, everyone was predicting the downfall of Omnimon. Having an effect which prevents your blockers from being deleted by effects seemed really awesome, and people were expecting it to be the big break for Black. Adding on the effects of Breath of Gods, it is basically irremovable, with Digivolve being the only removal mechanic which can affect it. However, it never really materialized, as despite being immune to being deleted by effects, it can still get deleted when it blocked the attack of a bigger Digimon. Despite that, it still managed to win 3 tournaments during BT3. This deck is pretty defensive, with the main focus being building up your Cranimon. The cons is, it is pretty slow, and after building up into level 6, your Cranimon would more often than not be a statue, as it can still be deleted in battle. Number 10. 1.5 brings in the new mechanic to the English version, security effects for Digimon. These Digimon get played after being revealed from the security. Ain't that cool? Yeah! While as gimmicky as it might sound, it is not worth playing them in standard decks. So how do we utilize them? Build a security Digimon focus deck, of course. As we only have 6 types of Digimon with security effects, we have a lot of space to put in other cards which can support them. So, what do we play? Recovery cards, of course. Magna Angelmon, Seraphimon, Magnadramon, and Salamon are great choices to put in, as they allow you to add cards onto your security stack, hence increasing the chances of getting security effect Digimon into your security stack. Tamers like BT1 and Starter Deck TK are also decent choices, although BT1 TK might be a little risky in case you don't get any yellow Digimon cards in your security stack.
So, what decks do you all look forward to in 1.5? Feel free to drop some deck ideas in the comments. I will also be making some deck list videos in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Well, that's all from me today. Thank you for watching, everyone. See ya!